AEW is on the verge of closing a massive deal with Warner Brothers Discovery. And if these numbers are to be believed, this is cause for celebration. Congratulations, Tony Khan and company. This is huge. Now, the numbers as of right now are not official. No deal has been closed. It's just reports coming out about what it looks like. This comes from noteworthy sources. Fightful Select, WrestleNomics. These guys would not put this out or endorse it if they didn't believe it was true. Honestly, the numbers I read were about what I expected. So I feel comfortable talking about it. But once again, nothing is official, and it won't be official until maybe next week for Grand Slam, maybe even after that. I do expect something very, very soon. Regardless, we are going to talk about it. Why I think fans should be happy that AEW is making this money, because it is going to be around for the next, looking like 3 to 4 years, maybe even more. But also, let's not ignore the problems that are in front of us, because there are going to be some people who will use this TV deal as a way to hide what AEW is struggling with. And there are some massive issues they need to address. And we will talk about it here in this video. But let's start off with the positives. This new TV deal. So the numbers coming from WrestleNomics, it says here that AEW is looking to be making somewhere in the ballpark of $170 million to $200 million a year for at least 3 years with an option for a 4-year. Tell me the last wrestling company to do that. Wasn't WCW. Wasn't ECW. Wasn't any other big promotion that was on TV except WWE. Give them credit. They managed to sign a lucrative deal, Cinderella deal, from David Zaslav. And this is great for a multitude of reasons. Number one, we're going to get AEW for 3 more years, which means more content for me to discuss, more wrestling content for you to watch, more opportunities for the wrestlers to work, to get paid. And it's great for the wrestling ecosystem. The fact that David Zaslav is willing to pay all this money for AEW shows you the value of the company. And see, a lot of us fans feel like we can determine what the value is for something when we're not the ones paying it. We're not the ones giving them millions of dollars. WBD is. So you might not think they're worth $200 million, but that's not your place to say. You're not the one signing their contract. You're not the one making the deal. David Zaslav is. If they did a 5-year deal, that would be $1 billion. I want you to understand how much $200 million a year is if that's the number they're going with. At max, it's $200 million. That means David Zaslav sees a ton of value in AEW. And that could be because people are cutting the cord and they need something to keep people on network television. But at the same time, this deal also includes, and this is coming from reports, a deal with Max. Pay-per-views moving to Max. To me, the 170, 200's great. What I care about is the pay-per-views going to a streaming service. If that's what we're going to be getting, that's all I care about. That's all I care about. Because as much as I love AEW's pay-per-views, and I think it's some of the best wrestling content we've gotten in a long time, $50 a month is a lot. I would rather just pay the $15.99, $17.99 if you don't want any ads for Max and let that be the end of it than to constantly be paying the $50 over and over and over again, which could financially put me in a rut. So I prefer it going to a streaming service, and not just the pay-per-views, but also Dynamite and what other wrestling shows are going to have. I'm seeing reports, now this is a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, that they're planning to drop Rampage because they are going to introduce another show, Shockwave. So I would think if you're bringing in another show, you're dropping one of the others. So they're going to drop Rampage and then replace it with Shockwave. And Shockwave, I think, is being shopped around to a different network. It's not going to be on TNT or TBS. Rumors are it will be on Fox. Now, not Fox, but FS1, Fox Sports 1, which is I'm sorry, that's a pretty low bar network. Kinda wish they would have done a different one, but what can we do? We're not in the room. We're not making these decisions. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that AEW got them a sweet deal. I'm happy that this is going to be a company that's going to be around for years to come, and we're going to have more places for these wrestlers to work and make a name for themselves, to grow, to make money, to pay their bills, to feed their families. This is overall a great thing, and anyone saying otherwise, I'm sorry, you're not a wrestling fan. If you are wishing death upon AEW because it's not WWE or they're not your team, I don't think you're a fan of wrestling. I don't think you're someone that cares about the well-being of these talents and the product. You're someone that just likes to see people fail. You get off on people not succeeding because you're not succeeding. You're someone that's struggling in your life, and you can't stand it when people like me or others or AEW become successful because you're not successful. I believe if you truly are a fan, you would be happy for AEW getting this TV deal. And I do believe for the most part, most of the fans will be, except for a minority who are insane, crazy, and downright hateful people who just like to see others fail. So we can criticize the AEW product all we want, and I will in just a second because I do have my issues with all of this. But at the end of the day, the fact that we have an opportunity to criticize is a blessing. The fact that we have a vibrant, healthy, financially secure wrestling product that's going to be around for us to watch at the end of the day is always a good thing. It's more content for me to talk about. It's more content for you to watch. So we should be grateful for that. And I am. That being said, let's not put the cart before the horse here. AEW is still in some deep doo-doo. The issues are glaring. And $200 million a year isn't going to help fix that. Let me talk about what's happening with Arthur Ashe Stadium next week. What's happening with Grand Slam. In 2021, AEW sold out Arthur Ashe Stadium. 20,000 plus. Within what, days? I think when they went on sale, they did $16K in minutes. The first day. That was 3 years ago. This is pretty recent. Here, right now, in 2024, they're doing another Grand Slam in the same building, same market, New York, and they're struggling to fill 5,000 seats. And New York is a hot market for professional wrestling, has always been. If that's not a sign of how cold AEW has gotten, then I don't know what is. We've talked about their attendance issues. We've talked about the quality of their weekly televisions. Their pay-per-views are top-notch, amazing. But unfortunately, these pay-per-views aren't going to create new fans. What creates new fans are the weekly television products. You use the TV products to build to the pay-per-views, not the other way around. And if people don't care about your television product, they don't care about your pay-per-views. And as of lately, Tony Khan has been shitting the bed when it comes to their weekly products. Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. It's not great. Half the time, it's just random stuff happening, random matches with no tie-in to what happens at the pay-per-view. Very little, if any, long-term stories with very little character developments to make people care. And this is very important. You can have the best wrestling in the world, which AEW does. But Tony Khan fails at making people care about it. And this is the kind of stuff that will hurt them long-term when it comes to these TV deals. Because at the end of the day, David Zaslav might like Tony. He might even be a huge wrestling fan. But he's also a businessman. Business people want their money back. If they're giving you $200 million, they're expecting some kind of a return out of that. He's not just giving it to you because he likes you. And so how is AEW going to be able to make that return when they're struggling to generate money with what they got now? If they don't improve on what they have right now, all they're going to do is bleed money from Warner Brothers Discovery, who, by the way, is also bleeding money. Trust me, if you put Warner Brothers Discovery in a position where they had no choice but to cut AEW, David Zaslav will cut them immediately, and they would do it with no shame. Think about all these movies they just didn't release. Batwoman, That Acme Wile E. Coyote movie. Just didn't release it. Tax write-off. If AEW can't find a way to improve the quality of their product, get people to come out to these shows, generate more interest through storytelling, with more characters, on top of the great wrestling, I seriously doubt they'll be making this amount of money in the next 3 to 4 years. AEW is lucky they got the money they got. If David Zaslav would have come to Tony Khan and said, I'm just going to renew the deal you have right now with no increase, that would have been a blessing too. The fact that he basically doubled what he already had, probably even more than that, he should be grateful and he should not screw up this opportunity. AEW is benefiting from the fact that networks are just trying to find content for their network shows because people are cutting the cord, and so therefore the value of these TV shows go up to keep them around. And I'm someone that believes eventually everything's going to move to streaming. Everything will move to the internet, which is why I think it's a great thing that AEW got this deal with Max. Pay-per-views, weekly shows. Have a place where all your content goes when everything moves to streaming. But in the meantime, most of the money that Warner Brothers Discovery makes comes from network television. And so they need content to keep people watching to help please the advertisers, which in turn will fill their pockets. And AEW doesn't really help their case when their viewership is down. Overall interest is down. So AEW is going to need to put their best foot forward if they plan to stick around a lot longer than 3 to 4 years. And the thing is, their issues can be fixed. They just need to get their rear in gear, plan things long term, understand what the fans like, who the fans like, what they want to see, and then build around that. Fix your tag team division, because there isn't one. You have tag teams, but you don't have a tag team division, trios, and main tag team. Push people that deserve to be pushed. Get Hook away from that FTW title. Feature him as a main event player, or at least strong upper mid-card player. Push the wrestlers that people want to see, not the wrestlers that Tony wants to see. Enough of this haphazard booking, where you turn on AEW Fight Forever, you press random, and then whatever comes up is what you get. You can't do that no more. Everything needs to start making sense. There needs to be long-term stories. There needs to be some reason to want to watch these weekly shows. And if you're dropping Rampage and you're replacing it with Shockwave, well, you're still going to have the same issue if you can't make people care about these shows. Don't get complacent and think, we made it, so let's do whatever we want. No, more than ever, now is the time to get your rear end in gear and start producing great television. Don't just give us amazing pay-per-views and then suck weekly. Enough with these trashy ass weekly shows. Both your pay-per-views and your weekly shows should be high quality. And when you start doing that, you generate interest. And when you generate interest, your numbers go up. Attendances, revenue, viewership. And that also leads to more people buying your pay-per-views, which means bigger business and more money for everyone involved. So here's hoping that things work out for AEW. That's my thoughts on the situation. What do y'all think? How y'all feeling about this new TV deal? And how are you feeling about the AEW product as a whole as of right now? But other than that, I do appreciate you for making me a part of your day. Do all the YouTube things, like the videos, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cashapp, and Venmo. I love you all for making me a part of your day, and I hope to see you around next time right here in Alyx's world. A place that is, was, and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Peace.